Let's talk another area that, from an attribution standpoint, can be a little bit challenging to prove performance, but is impossible to ignore, and that's video. I think that a tipping point for me personally was when the Senate had that sit-in a few weeks ago, and the only coverage of it was through Periscope and Facebook Live. So I don't know if Google's planning on doing a live YouTube functionality.
It's there.
Is it? Oh, it is there.
Clearly we're not.
It is there, right? It is there. Sorry.
It was there before Facebook. Not as successful apparently.
But there is. If you read Ad Age, this month's article is all about programmatic TV, and the networks are partnering with digital properties. YouTube is the second largest searched property out there. But yet, I don't know if anyone else is having these same conversations, but people are still reluctant to jump into the video game because of, in my opinion, digital is held to this kind of KPI and TV is held to this KPI, and there's like, what is the right KPI in the middle? So just curious of your guys' opinions. Doesn't have to be in current campaigns, just kind of video, thoughts around video, and where do you see that as part of the marketing mix moving forward?
Wow, I guess I'll go. On the video thing, I think it's hugely important with travel. I think our challenge is that it's more cost prohibitive. I don't say prohibitive because it's not prohibitive, but for us, with the small budgets, photography needs to be number one, and a lot of times we don't even have great photography on some of our sites. We put a lot of emphasis there. But one of the things that we are doing now is really emphasizing the video, because there's so many ways that it can be used. And I think when tying it in with the micro moments, and where it's really tied in for me, that we need to really start making video a critical part of the strategy, is how we use it. There's a micro moments video that kind of really may stand out. But when I'm at home working
we used
on
that in our pitch to you guys, actually.
Oh, you did? That's right. When I'm at home and I'm working on trying to change out a garbage disposal or trying to fix something on the car, I go on to Google and I type in, how do I fix this? And then all of a sudden it's there and it's telling me how to do it, right? And that was kind of that whole micro moment thing where I said, wow, this really works, because the flip side is where we can start using it for our properties is getting smaller snippets of video of all the experiences, right? So if I'm sitting at home and I say, where can I go skiing this winter? All of a sudden a video should pop up of skiing down by one of our properties. Or I want to learn how to fly fish, and then a video should pop up on how to fly fish. Or I want to make a margarita, right? Then it should be one of our chefs showing how to make a margarita, and that's a branding opportunity as well. And those are all those micro moments that video is critical. I think the challenge though is from the brand level, right, is how do we give the properties that flexibility to do all that, but also make a video that's high quality enough that will sell the brand and not diminish it as well, right? Because it's very easy to make a low quality video, which is scary too.
So let's put you on the spot, but is Google TV going to come back?
I don't know, but what I will say is, I guess related, I don't know if any of you guys use Chromecast and you stream from your phone. I mean, that to me is such a intuitive experience that you could argue that would become the norm very, very quickly. And if you think about the number of kind of cable cutters, what is it called, cord cutters, cable cutters, it's just growing day by day. So I think, not sure about Google TV, but that experience is one that we've seen a massive, massive success with. So to your point around video becoming more important, definitely on the micro moment of I want to learn how to do this, or I'm just quickly going to search for this and show video content, snackable video content is great. But I also see but we're also seeing mobile video in particular actually being where people are going and hanging out. You're sitting on your couch, you're either looking at stuff on your phone, you can't be bothered to switch on the TV, or you're streaming directly and kind of swiping stuff directly to your phone through Chromecast or a similar medium. The cool thing about all of that is that it then becomes more and more trackable. So as the consumers kind of go more towards that, you will start to see the kind of metrics and the ROI line up more and more. I don't think you're ever going to get PPC type kind of CPAs and CPLs, but you're going to get it closer and closer. And we're already starting to see that YouTube has been a really big success for us, even if you look at our SMB business. Clearly for travel, content and the video needs to be high quality. But actually, we've seen a lot of guys just shoot videos on their phones and put them out there and get a lot of success with advertising on YouTube. So I guess it depends for your business.
So what's new that's out there that's interesting to you that you're excited to explore and test?
I can start. I think Scott talked a lot about online to store. To me, it's just fascinating how we can start to get to that granular level. To me, it's the holy grail, right? If you think about 93% of retail sales are in store. I mean, that's going to drop over time as people buy more and more things online, but it's not going to drop to 1%, right? So it's going to be a big part of all of our lives as consumers and marketers. So the fact that we're getting that targeting or that measurement closer and closer to me is just incredible. It's such a big opportunity. I'll just add one more thing that I think will drive that acceleration is beacons. Once, Walmart's already doing this, a bunch of other guys already doing this. Once you start getting beacons, the whole am I logged in or not, even that might not be as relevant. It might not be as needed. So I can see as some of the really major retail chains, including the QSR guys, starting to really use beacons, and that really changed the game for them as they look to really connect the dots between their marketing channels.
I would say I'm looking towards what Gen Z is going to do. They're quickly going to become our target market, and they're just so used to mobile. I mean, everything has to be delivered mobile. It's so digital. So I'm not sure what it is I'm excited about, but I want to see what they're using because I know that whatever it is, I mean, we can't miss that boat. That's how we're going to reach our audience. That's how we're going to get cheeks and seats that do you. So we call it.
Let me hashtag that. Josh, tweet that out.
I think, yeah, for me, I think it's a lot of the artificial intelligence, right, and the voice to text, and what that means for us, right, and how everybody's using their phone now, and when you're driving or walking down the street, you just hit the microphone, and we're putting in searches, what's the closest restaurant to here, and how that translates into the digital, and it seems like Google was so into giving you all these great results. But now, how do we make our websites? Because now Google's getting to a place where it seems like we're going to give you the best result. Mm-hmm. So it's more like 1 or 2 results versus all of these results. Right. So how do we write the copy and the content? Is it an SEO strategy that then impacts how the results are displayed and kind of how it's really exciting to see how we start utilizing that artificial intelligence as well as the virtual reality and how we can start utilizing that at our properties in the sell the space. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
I wish we all had the crystal ball. And it was interesting, I was at a summit here a few weeks ago, and the conversation, obviously it was a lot about social, but Snapchat's a perfect example. I think as marketers, we're all trying to figure out how does it work for me, and at least for the retail brands or for Chipotle and Qdoba, I could see that working well because of real-time offers and things like that. They used a lot of examples of how restaurants are using it around college campuses and things, and I'm not quite making that connection as to how I can reach nurses who are looking for a job, but we're always trying to kind of figure out that puzzle. But it was an interesting piece of advice that the speaker shared. It's like it's really hard to know what's going to be happening 3 to 5 years out from now. So what's relevant today? What does your audience care about? What is the tool or the vehicle that they're using right now to communicate? Because whatever it is, it's going to change in 2 years. And at least jump on board and try and figure out if there's a way for you to reach your audience. And I think what is really important from my perspective is the relevance of what it is that we're trying to say to them and how we reach out to them. Can we touch them at the time that they're trying to make a decision, or can we be dripping content to them throughout this decision life cycle? Those are the challenges I see right now in marketing, is how to remain relevant. Content strategies are so important, and making sure we spend our time and our marketing dollars on producing content with relevant messaging, but also in ways that they want to consume it, and that's always the challenge, I think. So I wish I knew what was going to be happening 3 or 4 years from now.
Cool. Well, we'll have one more question, and we'll open it up if there's any Q&As out there. So you have to pick 1 or 2 questions. Either a prediction of something that's going to happen over the next 12 months in the digital space, or what's the biggest thing that's wrong with digital marketing right now?
Can we
To
go
you to
first?
start, yeah.
Pick on the guy not from Denver.
Right.
So I think what's wrong, I'll pick what's wrong. I like to pick on things that's wrong. I would say, and Google, maybe we're a victim of our own success with AdWords, the last click attribution, I know it works really, really well, and I think as advertisers, as marketers, we need to start thinking beyond that and provide the right value to the various channels and touch points throughout the kind of consumer research process before they make that purchase, whether it's a product or a service. So I think that's what's wrong right now in marketing, and we still talk about a lot of metrics that, to be honest, are just not relevant anymore. You talked about how mobile plays a role in the kind of consumer search journey, in the consumer research journey, and we did some research a couple of years ago where we found that 65% of all search journeys started on a mobile phone. So to me, I'm thinking like, wait a second, if I'm a business and I'm not reaching out to them at the first 60 or those 65% of journeys, then I'm missing out. So I sometimes don't understand why that doesn't happen. I know it's really hard on the execution side, but I think that's what I think we as an industry need to fix. Sorry, long-winded answer.
Well, I'll say what I'm hoping will happen is it'll become more experiential. I know for what we're trying to accomplish in selling an experience, most of our students come from outside of Colorado, and some of them from, across the other side of the world. So being able to give them the experience of being at Daniels and really, showing them why the Daniels Culture business and the ROI on an MBA, I think will be really key for us, and I'm excited to see what opportunities do come about with digital marketing to give that experience to somebody who's in India or Latin America.
I'll tackle what's wrong as well, and I think that, I don't know if it's specific to digital marketing, but it is the cost of acquisition and how it's getting more and more expensive. You would think digital would become more efficient and a little bit cheaper, but it seems like every week, every month, it just gets more expensive. So where you would think you would start to see higher ROI, it starts to get lower because the cost of PPC, the competition, or different ways, it's just becoming very expensive, and that's where we're having a challenge as well, the increasing costs.
I would agree with you for sure, but I think what is wrong, and there's probably nothing we can do about it, is the fact that we check our phones 150 times a day, but that is a reality, and I'm guilty of it as well. I think if I could kind of turn the question around and say what is right, it's like we know that mobile usage is it's a part of our lives now, and it's never not going to be. But what I'm glad is that there is more kind of cross-device attribution happening, and that we know and can kind of cater to our audiences, knowing kind of how they search and which device they're using, and at least we're getting, as a marketing community, we're getting smarter about how to, take advantage of those devices. When you think years ago where you had to have your .mobi site and your desktop site, and at least we're all getting smarter about, let's have one site with multiple experiences, and we know how to kind of stay in touch with the audience regardless of how they're browsing. So I think we're at least getting better at that, even though we're obsessive about our devices.
And I would say my prediction is that all the talk about big data and all the various channels that you can market to someone with is only going to get even more complicated over the next 18 months. And with the Internet of Things, Samsung has a smart refrigerator that knows if you're out of eggs. All new cars are going to be matched with some kind of either an Android device or an Apple device. There's going to be beacons everywhere. We literally won't be anywhere without something tracking us, knowing what we're doing, and predicting what we want. So as a marketer, what does that mean for us? How do we then grab all of that data and compile it into some sort of meaningful marketing campaign? I wrote a blog post about 8 years ago. I was kind of referencing Minority Report and how that really is the future. You walk down and a digital sign is going to scan your eyeball and know that you had too many cocktails last night and you should go to Walgreens and get some Visine. I mean, that's like the kind of thing that we might be looking at in the future. So my prediction is that digital marketing is only gonna get more complicated, but at the same time, hopefully more impactful. And maybe the cost will go down. All right, wine time? All right, thanks everybody, appreciate it.